Welcome to the Order of the Spellcasters structure deck opening. Now, admittedly, I do not know a ton about this deck. I know the reprints in here, which are, some of them are pretty cool actually. That's the main reason I wanted to open it. Also, I know that this deck loosely has something to do with pendulums, because it sort of is an add-on to the mythical beasts that were released a little while ago, and were very popular in pendulums last year, and still popular in pendulums to this day. I also know that technically there's like a few FTKs with Tempest Magician, although I'm not actually sure how viable those are, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to open just so you guys can see what's in the Order of the Spellcaster structure deck. I do want to say, if you are someone that's buying something on a budget and you are just looking for like to pick up 3 structure decks and play them at a locals or regionals, especially at a regionals, I would definitely say that the Salamangreat structure deck, the Soulburn structure deck, is still much better, just because the Salamangreats are so powerful, and we already know that they're proven to be good in a tournament setting, where this stuff is kind of unproven, and you might also need some outside support. But yeah, I thought it'd be kind of cool to open. Let's see what's in here. Obviously no rulebook, we'll get to that in a second. So it says, the magical masters of structure deck Order the Spellcasters have transcended the need for physical forms and gained the ability to the ability to become spells themselves. As pendulum monsters, they can be played as either monsters or spell cards and have different abilities depending on which you choose. That's kind of like the same description. I mean, you could give that description for basically any pendulum monster, right? They all have different abilities depending on which you choose. But anyway, let's open this. So we have the structure deck there that we'll get to in a second. The excellent game mat / advertisements for other sets. So they always got the game mat on here, which admittedly always look very, very cool. This one looks great. The last couple have looked great. Problem is paper playmat. If you want to use this mat though without using the paper one, at YCS's they give away like well, they don't give them away, but you can win structure deck playmats that look like this, but they're actual rubber, which is kind of cool. So you can actually use those. And then we got some directions on the back, and oh, there's one of the reprints that I really want to see in common. It's been pretty funny. And then we have the advertisements. Let's see what Konami tells us to buy to supplement our thing. We got Dark Neostorm. Okay, we got Savage Strike, of course. Definitely just get Savage Strike. I'm sure you'll pull Pot of Extravagance or Phantasme. Easy peasy. Cybernetic Horizon. Oh, I'm sure you'll definitely pull Moral Sword Dragon. Oh, that's funny. And then Infinity Chasers. Yeah, these are... Oh, so this must not be in here. I guess I just got reprinted, so that's not going to be in there. Are any of the mythical beasts in here? I'm not entirely sure. And Arcanite Magician, that kind of makes sense. It is a spellcaster deck. Not really alluding to Tempest Magician, though, which I find kind of curious. And then we have the Beginner's Guide. You know, I mention this every single structure deck opening, but I will continue to mention it. Please note that they do not include an actual rule book with the new structure decks. The main reason, I don't even think, they still go through all the summoning mechanics, but they don't go through a lot of the more specific terms. You don't have the glossary, which is actually a real shame, because I feel that the glossary is one of the most important parts about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rulebook. Having that in the back is super useful. Someone pointed out that the Magic rulebook is actually extremely long. I mentioned that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rulebook is not included anymore because too many pages, but realistically it's actually not that many pages. It's only like 30 or 40, I think someone said, whereas the Magic one, I guess, is hundreds of pages, which seems kind of weird to me because Magic doesn't seem like that complicated of a game. Also, I can never open these, which is kind of rough. They have like a point where you can... Oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. All right, so the main thing we're going to do here is just kind of go through what you're going to be getting out of here. Also notice that they added a new advertisement into the structure decks on the back here. This used to be the Duel Links advertisement, but now they've switched... Oh, never mind. They have just included 2 advertisements for the price of 1 advertisement. So we have the old Duel Links one, which... Actually, this is new. It didn't have Yusei on there. I have a Duel Links advertisement that I use as a field center. And then we have Legacy of the Duels, which is coming out on a Nintendo Switch. I keep getting questions about whether or not I'm going to buy this game, if I'm going to play this game. The answer is probably not. I do have a Switch, but I don't know why I'd really play this. It's not really that intriguing to me. Maybe if I could stream it, I would, but I don't really know how to stream on a Switch, so I probably won't play that game. Okay, so first off, we got several holographic cards. We have Endymon, the Mighty Master of Magic. Crazy card. I believe, maybe I'm wrong here, I feel like I heard that this was the longest text on one card. It's now trumped a couple other cards out there. I know Astrograph Sorcerer is like one of those, but man, that's so much text. I mean, it makes sense though, because they have The text up here is smaller, and also like it takes up part of the picture, so you can get more text than you could on a normal monster card. Reflection of Endymon. Spell Power Mastery. I really like this card. It's kind of like an upgraded version of Spell Power Grasp. And I should mention that the Endymon structure deck from back in the day was one that I never actually got my chance to have, but it was one that I always thought was really cool. I always thought the Endymon card itself was really cool. I'm also probably pronouncing it wrong, so I'm sure I'll trigger some people. But I always thought this guy was pretty cool looking. This upgraded form is pretty neat as well. Actually, I'm more of a fan of the original version. But yeah, I always thought that the spell counters were kind of a cool idea. I remember one of the early structure decks I used to play was the Dark Magician structure deck, which was the downgraded version of the downgraded version of this one. It was the big Spellcaster structure deck at the very beginning of the game almost, so pretty exciting. Then we have Dwimmered Path. Is that a real word? Target one Spellcaster effect monster in graveyard, add it to your hand. Okay, so it's just a monster reincarnation. That's kind of cool. And then we have, whoa, it's Dark Magician on steroids. We have Daybreaker, the Shining Magical Warrior. Oh, I guess that's not Dark Magician. It's more like a breaker card. 2 Spellcaster monsters. If this card is linked, someone plays 1 spell counter on it. Gains 300 attack for each spell counter. Okay, it's just like Breaker. If a Spellcaster monster is special summoned to a zone, this card .2, place 1 spell counter. And then you can move 2 spell counters on this card, take 1 card of the field, destroy. Wow. A lot of crazy spell counter effects. That's kind of cool, though. Too bad that second effect isn't a quick effect. But, yeah, so I don't really know if people are going to play these as, like, an actual spell counter deck, or if it's just, like, more cards for pendulums. I'm not entirely sure. Magister of Endymon. Servant of Endymon. Those are both new cards. So I think those... Maybe that's all the new cards. Usually they have, like, a common spell or trap as well. So we'll see here what the new cards are. We have Endymon, the Master Magician. See, look at that artwork. That is beautiful. Man, I wish I had this card in Ultra. Maybe someday I'll have to buy one of the structure decks. Crusader of Endymon. Very good card. Used to be played back in Gemini stun decks with heroes. You'd play Alias and you'd play this card just because of the fact that they were Geminis and they had all the right stats. They had 1900 attack, big attack back then. They had level 4, a light monster, so you use them for Miracle Fusion. Pretty cool stuff. Defender, the Magical Knight. Hey, this was actually, funnily enough, this card was played in spellbooks at full power, which sounds crazy, but it actually was played at multiple copies, and people even topped the WCQ with it. Mythical Beast, Cerberus. Okay, so there are some of the Mythical Beasts, it's not the Jackal. Mythical Beast, Medusa. Magical something. Man, I remember when we used to play this card back in, whatchamacallit, back in Spellbooks and Duel Links. Crazy stuff. People always laugh at this name. I don't know why it's called Magical something. I've gotten some questions. Why do they just not put, like, is that a placeholder name? I don't know what happened, but it's pretty funny. Magical Exemplar. We got Magical Abductor, of course. Fantastic card for pendulums. Disenchanter. Pretty funny. Apprentice Magician. Wow, that's a throwback. Democ. Wow. But the unfortunately the upgraded, well, not upgraded, the new version of this card, which is significantly worse than the old version, which is kind of sad. But because the main difference here is that I believe it adds the spell. Let's see. When this card during the end phase, yeah, it's more like a Scarm effect instead of an immediate effect, so it's less abusable, which is probably good, but that's fine. Fairy Tale Luna. Summoner Monk, pretty cool. Spellcasting of Prophecy, very weird to see this card as a common. I believe Secrets is in here as well as a common. Very, very strange as a card that has only been printed in holographic, but every card gets reprinted eventually. Magical Undertaker, really bad. One of the worst cards in Battle Pack 3 format. See, I always find a way to work Battle Pack 3 format into my videos. Magician of Faith, Droll and Lockbird. People are very excited for this. Not nearly as excited for the Droll and Lockbird reprint as people were for Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I think especially on a more local level, which is the more budget players usually, Ash Blossom is just so much more appealing because everyone is playing it in pretty much every single deck and every single format since it's been out, except for like the very first time it came out. So I think people in general are very excited about Ash Blossom, whereas Droll, more of a specific card, more of a competitive card. So if you're just playing at locals, you probably don't need Droll and Lockbird, so people aren't as hyped for it. We have Endymon's Lab, which is a new card. Magical Citadel of Endymon. Spell Power Grasp. 2 Spell Power Grasp, I guess that makes sense. Arcane Barrier. Spellbook of Secrets as a common. It is just so crazy seeing it. It's going to be crazy when you see the Pot of Desires as well. Spellbook of Power. Spellbook of Wisdom. Magical Blast. Magical Dimension. I used to love this card back in the day. What, 2005, 2006? Terraforming. Cool. Left Arm Offering. Man, there's so many common reprints of cards that we've only seen in holographic form. Left Arm Offering is a common. That's cool. That card is cool artwork, though. Pot of Desires. There it is. The common card. The common version of Pot of Desires. Obviously, this card is not expensive anymore. Actually, the Ultra Rare reprint was all it took was to make, that's all it really took to make that card go from like $100 to $5. But it's perfectly fine. I mean, having common versions of cards that people really like. And this is cool too. I mean, it seems like you could actually build a pretty cool deck if you bought 3 copies of these and 3 copies of the Salmon Great Structure deck, because that deck plays Pot of Desires, and that's kind of cool. There's a lot of cool stuff though, but seeing this card as common, it's just the way that Yu-Gi-Oh goes. All the crazy secret rares eventually end up in structure decks. Hey, last structure deck we had Ash Blossom, Mythical Bestiamorph. Okay, I can't pronounce that at all. So we do have, I guess, I don't know if there's always 2 new common monsters and 1 spell, 1 trap, but it seems like in the last couple structure decks it's been like that. Pitch Black Power Stone. Extra buck, what is this? I know it's not new, but each time a card is added from your extra deck, added to your extra deck, place 1 spell card on this card. You send this card with 3 spell cards. What the? That's so weird. Gagaga Shield and Magician's Circle. Wow. And worth noting, Magician's Circle, I didn't mention this in the video that I made on cards that changed the new Mind Crush ruling. Magician's Circle no longer, your opponent doesn't have to verify they don't have a Spellcaster. If they don't have one, you just have to take their word for it. So that's sort of an updated card with that Mind Crush ruling, new verification policy. Anyway, though, that is going to wrap it up for the order of the Spellcaster structure deck. Should you buy this? Should you not buy this? I guess if you really want to play with these cards, definitely buy the structure deck. If you still don't have Pot of Desires, I guess buy the structure deck, but realistically probably just buy singles. I don't think there's any like truly expensive card in here besides probably like the hollows or like a couple bucks or whatever. But yeah, if you want to play a structure deck, feel free to go buy it. Otherwise, probably just stick to like Salmon Grace if you're just trying to play on a budget. But this is cool for a lot of people that want to play Spellcasters, and I think Pendulum players are very excited. We'll have to see this weekend how successful this deck is at the PPG that's happening, where actually House of Champs and SEMO are both commentating, so make sure to go check that out. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Goodbye.